Sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jarrett and D. That's Dwight. Follow everything, like everything. Yes, we have Facebook, Twitters,
SoundClouds.
Yeah, you don't do any of it. You're not even watching. But
you should be.
For the ones who are,
do your job.
How was your last couple weeks, Dwight? I haven't seen you.
It was good, man. Working. The holiday was going down.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving was probably great for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get to get off work early. That was beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
And plus, then I got a little bonus later on. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I got to eat 2 Thanksgiving meals, so it was exciting.
It's glorious.
Yeah, but I didn't like the football. That's for sure. That was.
That's your own problems.
The early football was alright. The middle football, obviously.
Early football was garbage. I
Yeah. And the late football, I actually fell asleep at halftime. But
we talk about this all the time. Why the hell did the Lions still have a Thanksgiving game?
Man, yeah,
Why?
that gets brought up.
Go away.
Man. So I'd be cool with replacing the Lions.
They need replace
with
anyone. Put the Patriots there.
I was gonna say, do you do one team?
Well, actually, at this point.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Brady's too old. It doesn't even matter.
Okay, I got you, but the Cowboys. Now the brand is what is held for the Cowboys, but you don't think the Patriots will hold? That I think is the best selection, right? Because everyone calls the Patriots the new America's team. Everyone calls the Cowboys America's team, right? Everyone talks about but the 2 most popular franchises right now in the NFL, Patriots, Cowboys.
Probably.
I don't even think that's a question.
Probably.
Yes, for sure.
And
so why
most
not?
Hate it, yeah.
That's an AFC, right? And most hated. So you're gonna get the most. Hate brings eyes more than joy does. We know that. We figured that. Sports figured that out a long time ago.
Yep.
You want to see Duke lose. I want to see the Cowboys lose. People want to see the Patriots lose. So the Patriots being the 1 o'clock AFC game would be fantastic. Cowboys, you get the 4:30 game, and then I like the random selection for the night game. Now this year was pretty cool because it was all divisional games, which I thought that was a neat little add-on that we had this year. I like watching divisional games in general. So the Sunday night game was also a divisional game, so that was pretty cool. But
Lions.
And the Monday night game was a divisional game. Now that I think about it.
Lions.
Okay, I hear you. And the Bears played their backup and won.
Yep.
Their backup who hasn't started a game since he was with the Chiefs 5 years ago.
Look, if you put the Packers in that spot, I get it.
Chase Daniels is the career backup, right? Now Chase Daniels, nobody has stolen more money from the league. Nobody has thrown as little amount of passes and got as paid as much as Chase Daniels. That's a fact. Okay. This weekend they tried to ruin it. They had him go out there and start a game, and he won. To his credit.
And what happened? Yeah.
He made all his money.
Attaboy.
Good for him.
Yeah, I ain't mad at him.
I'm sure. I know guys like him, like career backups like him, get extra money for getting in games and winning. So good. Hey, get your paycheck, bro.
Getting something different to do. I'm sure he enjoys it.
Hey, gets to play with the ones for a week, maybe 2 weeks. They're talking about. Now, not just the Lions this year, but the Lions as a whole. You're talking about taking them out the 1 o'clock. Well, the 12:30. It starts at 12:30.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you, would you rather a rotation of teams or one team? But I'm done. I don't even need to ask you. I like your idea of the Patriots. I'm good with that. Everyone hates the Patriots. Everyone hates Dallas. Or everyone loves Dallas. I'm cool with that.
But Brady's by the time Brady's done, it might be a situation where it's
when they did this, they knew Staubach was going to retire one day when they put Dallas on the Thanksgiving Day game, and here we still are, and it's still a good touch to Thanksgiving.
It's still really different, but nah.
You understand what I'm saying? 30 years.
What you're trying to say?
30 years from now, if the Patriots say Brady retires, goes off in the sunset, wins the Super Bowl, loses the Super Bowl, whatever, however it happens, right? It's good enough though. It's an AFC championship run. And let's say that 30 years from then they have just a mediocre, basically average 500, maybe a couple playoff appearances, only a couple playoff wins. People are still going to like the Patriots. I think the way that they like the Patriots, not now, but Dallas is still really liked when they're winning, and I think the Patriots will be the same. I think the Patriots are going to be that number 2 team. They're going to be a Steelers. How about the Steelers then? Can we throw the Steelers in there as that second team then, as the AFC?
Sure, that probably makes a little more sense. That's a more popular team nationally, I would say. I don't know who outside of Boston cares about New England. Other than 3 people, but other than people who don't really follow football.
I think the Patriots. I think the Patriots are. I think it's Dallas, the Patriots, and Pittsburgh are the three biggest fan bases in the NFL.
Sounds like a lot of people just hate New England. I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, I know, like, legitimate Cowboys fans. I don't know too many legitimate Patriots fans.
I know a couple of Patriots fans. I know multiple Patriots
like,
fans.
Actual Patriots fans or ones that just, like...
No, like, actual Patriots fans, yeah.
Are they from Boston?
No. I was just drinking with one. Well, one is. I was just drinking with one on Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night. He's from the Harrisburg area. But... okay, now, you and I, it's rare for our friends to be that, but if you have friends with younger brothers, and I have a couple of friends with younger brothers that I could pull and ask, most of the younger generation, I'm talking like the generation right after us, I'm talking if you were like 8, 7, 6 when he won that first Super Bowl in 2001, I think I was 11 or 10, you would have been 12 or 13, we were already old enough to form, we don't like this, we don't, we're on our own, you loved your Cowboys, I loved my Eagles by that point, there was no turning back.
Right.
When you're 5, when you're 4, when you're 3, there's a lot of people who grow up to like different teams than their parents do. And the Patriots, I think, would be probably the generation right under us. The team picked more than the Cowboys, more than the Steelers. I really do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All right, as long as you get Detroit out there at this point, you can even make it a random every year for all I care. I don't care. Like, that's fine.
I would rather be one team.
Cool.
I would rather be one team, and if they picked New England or Pittsburgh, I wouldn't be mad. Now,
just get Detroit out there.
Yeah, I'm good with that, and I want it to be an AFC team because I don't get me wrong.
I can't tell you the last time I really sat and watched the whole Detroit Lions Thanksgiving Day, or cared enough to even pay attention to it. I'll have it on, and I'll glance at it.
I watched it this year. Okay, I'll give you that I don't really watch it. It's on the TV.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, I can't. No.
So Thanksgiving in general, it's hard for me to watch football until the late game because I'm always just like, there's a lot of people and I gotta talk.
So that's why Detroit should just stay there then?
I guess that's probably a good one because if it's Brady, I'm gonna.
It's like, it's football. We can look at it here and there.
If it's Brady, I'm not gonna talk to my aunt.
Yeah.
I'll be paying attention to Tom Brady.
Well, you know what, Detroit, you got it. That's Detroit's spot. I get it.
And you know what?
It's football, but it's Detroit. We don't have to really watch it.
And let Chicago sit Mitch Trubisky, so it's a good game, like it was. And that is just some entertainment right before the 4 o'clock.
I got it. I stand corrected. I've been wrong this entire time.
So do I.
I get why he did it. Cause ain't nobody gives a shit about the Lions. Got it.
Before we start breaking games down.
Yep.
There's a topic that broke a day or two before this recording that I want to get your opinion on because I've been back and forth on it in my mind, right? Reuben Foster, allegations for the second time of domestic violence, gets cut, picked up in a couple days by the Redskins. Reuben Foster had a bunch of issues about 6 months out of college with some weed, and then but it was a lot of weed. Excessive amount of weed.
Okay.
At the combine, he may or may not have yelled at a nurse to the point where they kicked him out of the combine, if you remember this story.
No, why is he yelling at a freaking nurse?
I forget exactly what happened, but he was just asking, "Do you know who I am?" And that's how the story goes.
I said no,
yeah,
sorry.
Right? Yeah. She didn't actually. That's probably she probably had no idea who Reuben Foster was, unless she really liked Alabama football.
If you pull out a picture right now and say that's him,
I always put it this way:
I'll be like,
college
no, that's
football
not
players,
him.
unless you're somebody like me, you don't know the names of the linebackers on Alabama. Even the Alabama fans don't even know the names of the linebackers on Alabama sometimes. You have to really be into this stuff to know.
Right.
And so she, most likely, I'm not saying she wasn't, I apologize to her, she did know who Reuben Foster, but most likely when she looked down on the sheet and it said Reuben Foster, she was like, no. Anyways.
Like I said, if you pull out a picture of him right now and say that's Reuben Foster, I'd be like, no, it ain't. Because I have no clue. Before
I give you the details and context, because details and context, I think in this particular matter, and I don't like to tell people how to feel, and I'm not really big on reactionary of that kind of out of it, this far off the field stuff, but there is context I want to throw into it, but raw reaction, Redskins picking them up, yes or no? Good or bad?
It's bad.
Agreed.
Just because because again, it's that whole we pick and choose what's good, what's not good. When something like that too, on top of that, it's like, well, how great of a talent is this then? Like,
and I would argue, because where my mind automatically goes, and I will be first to admit it.
By saying bad, I'm saying it just looks bad.
Right? No, agreed. My mind automatically goes to wait. Colin Kaepernick's a media issue, but Reuben Foster's not.
Yeah.
Clearly, my mind automatically goes to that, right? And Reuben Foster, as talented as he is, and as much of a starting linebacker he hasn't done as much on a football field to prove to anybody that he could play as much as Colin Kaepernick has.
Right.
And so clearly that dynamic, right? So then I sit down, though, right? And there's context to this I want to add. The allegations that he had last year were dropped. They were completely... She came out and admitted that she made the whole story up. Now, admitted is a weird word to use, because if this is the second time he was getting allegations, now did she admit it, or did she just take it back so he didn't get in trouble? Because the problem that I have with the entire story is this is the same woman a year later.
Is he still dating this woman?
Yeah, well, they broke up for a little while, and it sounds like they got back together. Now, I can't...
And then he allegedly did it a second time.
He allegedly this time knocked the phone out of her hand and pushed her in the chest. Now...
Well, at this point, bitch, if you're still with him, then it's you. And
okay. You, or... Right, okay. Somebody is way in the wrong for being together. I agree. Whether it's him or her.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
And I don't know if the admission that she had last year is now really admitting, or did she just lie and say, no, he didn't do it so he can keep his football career because she wanted to be with him.
Or she just lied a second time.
Or is she lying a second time? So the whole thing, context is really important here, because now you put Reuben Foster in a weird situation, right?
So
because now... Right, and so that's why I said I wanted the raw reaction, because we had the same raw reaction until I had the context, and now I'm like... So
if she did lie, then why did you go back to her, somebody putting those allegations out there? So that tells me that he probably fucking did it.
Brings me, okay, you and I agree, okay? We're on the same page.
At this point, it's perception, and on perception on both sides. Like, now
they
both look pretty damn bad then.
I 1,000% agree that it looks like he probably did it just as a bystander.
That looks bad. That looks so bad.
The other side of this is, it sounds like the 49ers didn't cut him because of the allegations. It sounds like the 49ers cut him because John Lynch had an agreement with Reuben Foster last year when everything happened, that if we do not cut you and you do come up innocent in this situation, that you have no more contact or ties with this woman. Oops.
So we're all watching and just say, well, we don't care?
Well, so the other side of this is, right. Well, no, I don't want to skip the 49ers in this. So it doesn't sound like they cut him because of domestic abuse allegations. It sounds like they cut him because he was talking to a woman they didn't want him to talk to, because she might put him in a bad situation like this, because if he is innocent, then yeah, she's putting him in some really bad situations where he can't play football and make a lot of money. And if he did do it, she needs to be putting him in these situations where he can't play football and make a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, and that is a hard, weird, fine line that I'm not here to sit here and say which one it is or what is right and what is wrong here. If I'm the Redskins as a team, back to my original question, no way am I picking Reuben Foster up.
I don't need to touch that.
Not just because of the surface of what I asked you before I gave you the context and your reaction, because that was also my reaction, but with context, it doesn't sound much better.
You don't even need to go anywhere near that.
Whether he did it or not, it doesn't sound much better.
At this point, no. Not when this is happening a second time. Allegedly happening a second time. Like, come on, man. Come on. Either way.
So if he didn't do it, right? Let's go on the side of, because I'm not saying he did or did, but let's say if he didn't do it, right? Now he might.
Fine. He might not have. Fine.
No, if he didn't do it.
Cool.
Reuben Foster, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And
why are you back together with a woman now? Last year's allegations were 10 times worse than these. Now, last year's allegations were beat the living pulp out of her.
Now he's gotten better.
This year's allegations are knocked the phone out and got pushed.
Come on, man. What are you doing? If it is made up and she just this crazy woman, which newsflash, I know it's 2018 and we don't believe that, but newsflash, women do this. And there are some, and there are crazy ones that will do this. So let's not. You can't gloss over the fact that it's a possibility.
And like I said, she admitted last year but she went to the courts and said it.
Right.
I just don't know if that's true or not. I don't know, man. The whole thing is just...
Either he's a POS for doing this and doing this repeatedly, or he's just stupid for if she's making it up, why do you keep going back to her then?
Not that Dwight and I have to say it, but like clearly, we're not.
By the way, if she made it up, did she go to jail then? Because that's a whole nother issue. Anyway.
She's taking a lot of money out of his pocket.
She meant the first time it was made up, did she go to jail for that?
Let's say this takes 6 months, right?
I think so.
So he doesn't play another down in football this season. He loses like $2 million overall out of that then.
Right. And especially if she made it up.
If she made it up.
Right.
If she didn't make it up, then good.
Yeah, F him. Yeah,
go to jail.
Got it. Right.
But if she made it up, yeah, right. And so, like, I struggle with it. I go back and forth.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to do it. And how old is he?
He's only 23.
Yeah. Go sit down, young fella.
You making good money.
You ain't. No, I'm saying as a team, I'm like, hey, you're not even worth it, my guy. Like, this is too
as
much.
A team? No way.
You need to cut ties with this completely.
I wouldn't even look into it.
You need to cut ties with that completely,
when
or you could just not come on this team.
They were cutting Ruben Foster.
Yeah.
But that's again the other side of the NFL is if your talent exceeds the problems,
right,
somebody will be there.
Sure, that's just we know that.
And I always use the word problems when I say that because Colin Kaepernick's not causing any problems, yet here we are.
Well, he didn't cause any problems with you. It's everybody else that got quote unquote offended, finger quotes, and now how everybody wasn't watching last year.
NFL said they're fans. Am I not a fan?
I guess not.
Oh, all right.
You know how everybody wasn't watching last year? Well, now everybody's watching and then some this year? How's this work?
What did you say last week? If you're not a fan, you're a hater, right? So what's up, NFL?
Anyway.
I'm cool with going to war with the NFL. I got some things I got to air out with them. One of them is we really just got to figure out how to stop this Dallas freight train. It's getting real annoying, and it's getting real loud, and they're getting real good. And to be honest with you, if the Philadelphia Eagles...
You blew this way farther than me, but I was going to take it.
Well, look,
it's a freight train?
They're killing it.
It's a freight train. They're killing it?
5 of the last 6 games? 4 of the last 5 games.
They beat an overrated, mediocre, defeated Eagles team. They beat Brady Quinn. Excuse me? Did they beat the Saints yet? Not
no.
As of
and I think that might be where it ends, but we'll talk about that. But
so then what's the freight train? Beating some scrubs? So?
Their offense looks a lot better than it did. They're starting to move the ball.
It looks better.
The defense is still playing really well. They never really let the foot off the gas. They have plays here and there for the most part, though. They look pretty good.
Yeah, the defense is
all season. I'm not just talking. I mean, pretty much.
Sure.
I gave them credit earlier, even well before the.
They
Eagles
don't get turnovers, but
that is probably their biggest downfall.
They force pressures. Those linebackers are. I didn't love those linebackers, but the secondary still sucks. But anyway, offense is looking better. Zeke's still balling out. Dak wise, it's looking better, but not freight train. You can slow down. Who's the Cowboys fan here?
So,
no, you can't be 2 games over 500 and be a freight train. Nah, don't buy into that.
As of late, so yeah, but if you're playing your best football in November, that's not a bad thing.
Well, again, who did you beat and how did? Okay, and right, Brady Quinn made us look like a world beater, and that's exactly what I said when we won. I was like, ain't that a damn shame? Brady Quinn.
Colt McCoy.
My point. Colt McCoy. Colt. Right. Brady Quinn. Right. Brady Quinn made us look so great. Come on, man.
So here's what I was thinking the other day.
Ain't nothing to get excited about. It was funny because it's the Redskins, but...
Here's what I was thinking the other day. From the Eagles' perspective, and you're a Cowboys fan in the same position, so you can tell me if you feel the same way about your position. I think I would much rather the Eagles go downhill than finish out the season, somehow pull out winning the division, go into the playoffs, and then just getting absolutely routed by LA or New Orleans in their place.
I felt that way at first, but then the more I thought about it, I kind of don't care at this point. Just you might as well just go all in and just go and see how far you can take this. You might as well, because I mean, by quote unquote tanking or losing. Like we don't have a draft pick, so that's not even
Right,
that's not even a thing.
It doesn't help you if you just lose out.
The only
if the
thing,
Eagles lose out, it helps me.
If we win out, the only thing that it gives Jerry Jones justification for is keeping the head coach Jason Garrett. That's the only thing that I'm like, that really sucks.
Isn't that what? Wasn't that the Titans coach last year, Doug Marrone?
I don't know.
Doug Marrone him. Just fire him after a playoff win.
Jerry Jones ain't gonna do that. Jerry Jones is looking for a reason to justify keeping Jason Garrett. So that's the only thing that sucks for me. Other than that, just cool. We need to see what we
Titans
got.
fan, let me know if I was right about the
we don't talk about that team no more. Who? The who?
Well, I just want him to let me know
what?
if I was right about Doug Marrone being. I'm pretty sure Doug Marrone was their coach last year. I could be way off on that.
The Tennessee who lost to?
It's now Teddy Bruschi's best friend.
Teddy Bruschi's best friend.
His backup that ended up playing tight end.
I know.
Every catch that man had was a touchdown.
Who is this? Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. Yeah.
Mike Vrabel. Anyway.
That's it. And you could replace Jason Garrett with Teddy Bruschi.
No, I'm good. I'm so good. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. But yeah, that's what sucks about this whole thing. But I mean, otherwise.
All right, so the Eagles don't fire anybody. Carson Wentz comes back next year. They probably can just get an offensive lineman or a running back, which I like the running back, Josh Adams. So we'll get into that. But
we might as well just keep going.
The Eagles have a better shot of just moving up and taking a draft pick that I trust them to take. I don't care who it is, by the way, or what it is.
You need a lot.
And Howie's hit on first-round picks his entire way through. I'll give him that.
Right.
So the earlier the better, and I just look at it as the Eagles basically, if they win out, right? If the Eagles win, or they don't even have to win out, just if they win the division,
right, and get there, right?
Your first round of the playoffs, you're hosting the first round, right? So let's say, and then who you get? You probably get Carolina's on the downhill. I don't know, but okay, you get a Minnesota, or you get Minnesota or Chicago probably. Whoever doesn't win that division.
I mean, either way.
So you probably get trounced by them at home before you even go to somewhere to get trounced. And let's say you beat Minnesota or Chicago, you're going to New Orleans or LA.
It's still better to make the playoffs than not make the playoffs.
I hear you. I don't know.
And like I said, from our perspective, somebody that doesn't have nothing on the line.
True.
Then
I also just have a bad taste in my mouth right now because the greatness of what happened last year. And
stayed last year.
Okay, that's fine. But because of what happened last year, it's a little more disgusting for me to watch them struggle to the Giants through 3.5 freaking quarters for no reason on offense. You know what I mean?
So you'd rather dominate last year, win the Super Bowl, come back next year and not make the playoffs? That's cool?
No, I'd rather make the playoffs, but it's at this point right now, today, they're not going to look anywhere near like a team that can actually win the Super Bowl.
But at this point, if you can at least get to the playoffs.
It's Super Bowl or bust.
I get that, and that's for all 32 teams. I understand that, but at the same time, you still
I don't know, but I've always felt that way.
You still want to win the division.
I feel like
therefore, by winning the division, you're still going to have to go to the playoffs.
My team arguments go is just championship or bust.
Well, this is for the past 10 years, literally, especially. This is where I've been with this whole situation because Dallas has been a 500 team. But when you realize we're not going to the playoffs, then it becomes just get bragging rights at least with the division, or you know what I mean, maybe win the division.
Agree with that.
So
all right,
then cool.
I'll take it then. And
look, get into the wild card, you're we're still gonna lose. Okay, cool.
So Dwight, and as I say all that, right, and as I say they just win, or lose it at home to Minnesota or whatever. As I say all of this, I also look at it as, don't get me wrong, I will be sitting there screaming my head off for that Eagles-Cowboys game if that's for the division. You know what I mean? I understand.
Right.
I will still be supporting and rooting for the Eagles to win. Look, the other day I was still supporting and rooting for them to win. It just was painful to watch. They won. But I was thinking, I don't know, I was just thinking the other day, it is better perspective overall for them to probably not go to the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. While the games are being played, I'm going to still be rooting for the Eagles. And if they look good over the next span, then they'll probably convince me. I was afraid of that one too, right? Ready? My other scenario in my head is they look good.
We know Mr. Back-to-Back, we know.
And here we go. It's going to be,
we
know,
Mr. Back-to-Back.
The defense is hot, and Carson's looked pretty good coming off the injury.
Cool. What about the rest of them?
Yeah, well, that's where the problems are lying right now.
Fakest Super Bowl winning team ever?
Not getting the... not getting the creativity on offense the way they had last year. Defensively,
can't stop Eli Manning.
They figured it out in the second half. But that was also part of the Giants' play calling. I guess we just break the Eagles game down while we're talking about it here.
Can't stop Eli Manning. Eli Manning. What, don't they put up almost 400 yards total on y'all?
Yeah, but like 330 of them were in the first half. Barkley.
That's cool.
No, it's crazy. No. So I thought they were going to go for a full 600 there, Dwight. Don't get me wrong.
That never happens that way, so.
But, I mean, they couldn't stop Barkley for anything in the first half. And then the Giants just decided not to give Barkley the ball in the second half.
So you didn't learn from Zeke. You just can't stop Barkley.
Literally saying those exact words. So 2 weeks ago on the same football field, you couldn't realize that if you just stop this guy. And by the way, the Eagles don't have a secondary.
Right.
So it was like you only literally have to focus on one thing, and they still didn't do it. It was a weird concept. So the Giants did it for him in the second half. Barkley only touched the ball 4 times. 170 yards in the first half, Dwight. 2 touchdowns.
That's why he didn't need a touchdown.
Overall, 130 rushing, I think, or 120 rushing. But 170 overall, 2 touchdowns. And he touched the ball 4 times in the second half. What? You were winning most of it, so you could have ran the clock down.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, too. But
What?
Yeah.
Odell Beckham was the starting cornerback for the Eagles, was the 4th corner, okay? He's the 4th corner on the depth chart, right? The Eagles had, out of their 5 corners, 3 of them were practice squad players. But the one starting against Odell was the 4th corner on the depth chart, right? Ready? Thrown to once in the second half. I mean, I get that the rest of the guys are also worse, and you want to try to throw it to them, but like you can still throw it to Odell a couple times. Like you don't have to just throw it to him one. He was the 4th best corner on the Eagles roster before the season started. I had no idea what the Giants were doing offensively in the second half. Really thankful for it, so appreciate them. And the offense put it together in the second half, but still only 25 points. They could have put up 31-40 against the Giants. Everybody can put up 31-40 against the Giants. Not they. Everyone. Let me put it to you that way. So disappointing that it was only 25. Do you want to talk about Dallas, Washington? I mean, it was against Colt McCoy. As you said, Brady Quinn was about it.
No. I mean, Amari Cooper is showing himself. But
he looked good.
Yeah, he's looking good, but I mean, he still ain't worth that first rounder, but I see him trying. That's what's up. So cool. Otherwise, it was the Cowboys versus Colt McCoy, or Brady Quinn, as I put it. So, I mean, it was cool for me, enjoying that, but ain't nothing to analyze and talk about. What is there to analyze? Nothing. Other than you think Cowboys going to run the table, but it ain't happening either, so.
No, I don't think they're on the table. I think they'll lose this week.
But then they're not much of a juggernaut, are they? If they can't be.
I said juggernaut. I said they were a freight train.
Oh my! Damn, buddy. Silly me. That's such a difference. It's
freight train got brakes, bro.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
And they're gonna have to pump them.
Now, if you ask Demarcus Lawrence.
I know. I heard. We'll talk about that. Nothing really to talk about with Atlanta and New Orleans. That played out exactly how everyone thought it would. The only thing I want to talk about with Jacksonville and Buffalo is, did you hear before the season what Jalen Ramsey said about...
yes, everybody did, Jared. Yes, everybody knows.
All right.
Everybody knows. He talked about how the quarterback was trash. And that trash quarterback proceeded to trounce them, even though the Jaguars also have a trash quarterback who's now making all this money, and now next week's going to be sitting on the bench. Right. It's so, like...
So my bigger thing is...
Jacksonville, the Jaguars just need to go away. Can they just go away?
So the Jalen Ramsey thing, back to that real
quick. Go away, overrated trash.
He said that he was trash about a rookie quarterback, right? He never seen that player play, ever. Because that player, Allen, was a Division II quarterback. So it's not like he's on TV. He's not even on ESPN. He played like in the same division that Carson Wentz did. They didn't play. Division II teams aren't on TV in college. So he literally called this man trash because of some tweets that were dug up when he was 14 years old.
I mean, he could also just look up his numbers or something. I don't know, but okay.
You don't get drafted 2nd overall without good numbers in Division II football. He got drafted 2nd overall. He had no idea if the dude was trash, and he's never seen him play football.
I don't know what he's seen or what he didn't see. I don't know.
That's all I wanted to point out with that.
Go away, Jaguars. And shut up, by the way. Just shut up.
Baltimore, Oakland. Only reason I want to talk about that. Only reason I want to talk about that. Lamar Jackson's 2-0.
Okay.
Looked pretty good.
I'm supposed to lose my mind like everybody else is on television.
I wouldn't lose your mind about it. It's two not good teams.
So
now
he's
he's
taking
got to
over
go on
for
the road.
your favorite quarterback ever, huh?
Well, I would say that he has deserved the shot at the next two games, the Atlanta and the Kansas City game, and then go from there and see what happens. 2-0, and he played, I mean, against Oakland, but much better.
Yeah.
Would you give him the next game at least?
Sure. When's Joe Flacco supposed to be coming back?
Next week or the week after. But if he is healthy, would you still just give Lamar Jackson the reins next week anyways?
Where are they at now?
Atlanta.
No, I'm saying like standing wise.
They are one game away from Pittsburgh out of the division. They've already played their 2 games against Pittsburgh. They split.
I guess you keep rolling with it. I mean, whatever. Yeah, I guess they can keep rolling with it. If I'm Joe Flacco, I'm not happy about that.
Well, I mean...
There's probably some people in our organization and that team that will be happy about that, but if it's working. If Joe Flacco's a better quarterback, though, I mean...
I agree with that. You see it in practice every day. So if Joe Flacco's the better quarterback...
Just go with him then.
And here's the thing, and I think this is a hard thing for teams to decipher. Joe Flacco is obviously getting a little older, right? So through injuries, cold, he doesn't look as good in practice as the raw talent that Lamar Jackson looks. But on Sundays, Joe Flacco might be able to read a defense a little better than Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson just is young. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the weird predicament they're in because Lamar Jackson's going to have a situation where it's going to be 3rd and 7 in the middle of the 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, and he's got to get the first down or else they're out of the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Can he do that? We don't know. He's not been in that position yet because he's been up for most of his games because they have played well against Cincinnati and Oakland. So I'm not...
Cincinnati and Oakland. You know what? No, go back to Joe Flacco because Cincinnati... You know what? I'm glad you established that too. Yeah,
I mean, that's why I said. That's why I'm not
No, he can go sit back down. No. Joe Flacco, take over.
I think he could be all right, but
no,
we'll
Joe
see.
Flacco, take over. No.
I wouldn't hate that idea either.
He beat up on Oakland, Cincinnati. Okay.
I wouldn't be against the idea of going back to Joe Flacco either on the basis of, like you said, they see him in practice. They know. You know who's better as the coaching staff.
Yeah, right. No. That's ridiculous. I hate overreactions.
Speaking of overreactions, do you have any issue with Baker Mayfield's the way he handled the Hugh Jackson handshake and all that? Did you hear about all that?
Yeah, that's all anybody was talking about. I'm pretty convinced that was the only thing that happened over the weekend.
Yeah, it was overblown.
Overblown. It was extremely overblown. I mean, no, I didn't have an issue with it. I thought it was he did what he was supposed to do. Why should he? If he does not give 2 shits about this man, Hugh Jackson,
right.
Or if he just and he don't like him personally, professionally, whatever it is,
we had a chance to meet Hugh Jackson and talk to him, and we didn't.
We did. We should have just asked him how he felt about Baker himself.
We didn't. Next time.
We got that. If he feels that way, that's within his right. I have no issue with him not having any love for Hugh Jackson. He does not have to have love for Hugh Jackson at all. Like it's.
Now let me add my favorite part, I guess, of my favorite word of the show today. I guess context. My context to this would be Baker shouldn't be mad because in college he did the same thing.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Yeah, he jumped from one team to another.
And he only did it because his coach left.
Right, and this coach,
so he did the same thing.
And Hugh Jackson got fired.
And Hugh Jackson, right? And Hugh Jackson did have the option to leave. Okay, that would be one side of my argument. But my other side of the argument is, look. I don't care. If you're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah,
and that's the mentality he had.
Regardless, you go to a rival, you're still going to be like,
that's the other side of it. He went, and I was going to say, if you're not with us, you're against us. And then it's also, and you're against us twice this year.
Right,
got you.
Right, and it's not like he came out and said, well, F him, like he's a POS for that.
He
like,
just didn't shake his hand all that well.
And he was just like, I'm not cool with that. He's the enemy now.
Yeah, he messed up.
What is the problem with that? Well, he got fired.
That was the dude telling me.
He got fired,
That was the dude telling me that nobody outside this locker room matters, and now he's outside this locker room. So
he got fired and took the job, which is what he was supposed to do, but I don't mean I have to like it.
I added the context because I do think it's important. Like, Baker did the same thing, so, like, But I don't care that he was. That's Baker.
Baker's so hard right now, apparently. Like everybody's like either they really hate Baker Mayfield or they really love this edge to him.
And that's what I tried to explain to you before he came out. When he was coming out of college, I said last year that I thought he was the number one quarterback coming out of college. But the issue with Baker is going to be he's extreme. So you're either going to love everything he does or you're going to hate everything he does. I just understand that Baker's extreme, so I'm going to either really, really like some of the things he does, and I'm really, really going to just be like, come on, man, on some of the things that he does, some of the other things he does. But I like Baker. I think Baker's a good player, and I do overall think the attitude of how Baker is the only way that a team like Cleveland goes from 0 to 4 wins in a year.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if they got a little, if he gives them a little edge, then cool. That's exactly what they've needed for like 25 years. Cool, not a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
And Baker,
I don't have an issue with
what he did and how he felt. I'm with you.
It was not that serious.
Overlooked.
It was not that serious. He shook the man's hand. What more does he need to do? Because he didn't want to hug him. That's what people gloss over. He shook his hand.
He literally shook his hand. It wasn't disrespectful.
He didn't walk away. He didn't blow him off.
Smack the hand away or nothing. No, I completely agree.
He shook his hand.
I was saying that too when everybody was freaking out about it. I was like, I mean, it's not like he didn't shake his hand. Like he shook his hand.
He shook his hand.
Just didn't give him a hug.
Come on, man. Overreaction.
In what could be one of the best games last week, Seattle came the whole way back to beat Carolina late.
Yo, your team.
Which one?
No, right. You're right. But, the juggernaut, that is Cam Newton.
Three losses in a row.
Do you see Greg Olsen? Do you see his reaction?
No.
I did. What?
I really did.
Oh, the one thing you should have freaking seen and you didn't. Okay, so jumping ahead a little bit. After the game, they had the reporters in the locker rooms and they asked some questions. And so somebody asked Greg Olsen, they were like, so do you think you guys can basically turn this around? Can you get this together? And he was like heated. And he was like, man, we got to focus on one game. We can't be worried about 5 right now. We've lost 3 straight. Like, he was mad. And I appreciated it, but I was like, you're right. And I was like, damn, they really have lost 3 straight.
Yeah.
How? And that was basically how the reporter was bringing this up, too. He was like, how? And he was like, I don't know. Nobody knows. Like, I don't know what's wrong.
Well, the first game was against Pittsburgh on a Thursday night. I'm not excusing it, but let's go to the next one then, right? The Detroit one. That was they decided to go for 2.
All right, so that's your coach.
Okay, and then the last one was you were up, I think, 12 in the fourth quarter. So bad defensive play there late. So they all 3 have their separate reasons on why, and it's not unfixable. But they're jumping around here, and they took 3 bad losses in a row.
Right.
So you and I would go for back to the week before when you went for 2 because we didn't have a show last week. You and I would go for 2 if we were college coaches and we were like a bad team tied with a good team late or in overtime. Okay,
you're the Browns and you're facing the freaking
Patriots.
You have to go there, right? And you're not expected to
last
be
year.
Right.
Like last season, week 15, and you're playing each other right, and it's the fourth quarter, and we just scored a touchdown. We're going for 2.
Go for it, yeah.
If we're the other team, we're not.
Right.
Carolina was the other team in that situation, and they went for 2. Bad coaching. I like Riverboat Ron's mentality. I don't like Ron Rivera. I like his mentality.
I'm so tired.
Usually, I was making a joke.
I know, but
I like the
Riverboat needs to stop.
I like the aggressive style of coaching, but I don't like. But sometimes I don't like. It's situational. I'm a situational guy. I think that things in sports, especially, have situations. So sometimes, because you go for it on 4th and 8 from the 32-yard line, it's not a good idea sometimes to do it, just because sometimes it is a good idea. Do you know what I mean? But everybody's always like, if you're on the 32, you got to do it or you don't. You know what I mean? Like, they have to have their decision.
Right.
No, I think that it's situational.
Yeah.
And in that situation, don't be that aggressive.
No. Dude, I don't feel like this damn Riverboat thing, this going for it mentality has worked since the Super Bowl. So why is it still a thing?
It didn't even really work in the Super Bowl.
I understand, but that's my point. Is that since that season, like this edgy, I'm just going to do it just to do it, hasn't really worked or panned out much
I've
since.
been calling for Ron Rivera to at least get and to their credit, this year they did, to at least get a better offensive coordinator in there if they're not going to get him out of there.
Sure.
Because their entire offense was Cam Newton passing or running, and I was like, until you run the ball with somebody else, you're not going to be great. Then they go to a Super Bowl, and it's like, well, now great, they're stuck with Ron for at least 3 or 4 years, no matter what.
So what? Now we're in what, year 3 now?
Yeah, but they got who is it? Shermer, if I'm not mistaken, is the offensive coordinator now out there, and he's like Cam. This is Cam's best offensive year overall. I'm not going to. There's no way around it. So this week, not the offense's fault. Last week, at times I think they could have been better, but they went for 2 and didn't get it, so you could end it on the offense's fault. And the week before, they didn't score enough points, but they also got beat by 50. So it's both sides' fault. So
so this is why Greg Olsen was flustered in that.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know.
Because it shouldn't have happened in the last 2 games. They should have won the Detroit game. Everyone can agree with that. And look, Seattle is good, and I will always give you that. There's Russell Wilson down 12 in the fourth quarter will make it interesting 9 out of 10 times.
He's done that this year, 9 out of 10 times.
And he's done it his whole career. I mean, that's been Russell Wilson's entire career, at least making it interesting. If they don't win, he gets you within 3, 5.
And he's done that this year.
Yeah, but sometimes he gets that win, and he did. And that's the other side of this, is that Carolina, while they're flustered, Seattle?
Wait, we didn't even bring this up with Carolina. Go back, and then we'll get back to Seattle. Go back. This is the ignorance of this riverboat crap. Like, Carolina's in a position where they should be winning, right behind the Saints. Now they're in a position where they could end up 3rd in the division.
Oh yeah, like
this keeps going.
If they would have taken care of everything except the Saints, they would be
right there.
They would be that team that goes in and destroys Philadelphia or Dallas in Philadelphia or Dallas. You know what I mean? But now it's got to be Minnesota or Chicago because you couldn't take care of your own. All you had to do was take care of your own business. I get losing to Pittsburgh on the road. Okay, I'll give you that.
Sure, that's fine.
But Detroit should have won, and you were beating Seattle by 12 in the 4th. So,
come on, man.
Those are 2 games that if you take care of business, and they're both NFC teams, if you take care of business in the conference outside of the Saints, because we agree they're not catching the Saints, so you have the 3rd best record. You might not be the 3 seed, but you'll have the 3rd best record going into the playoffs. Now you won't, but
now Atlanta's like, hey,
Atlanta. No.
I understand, but
so I guess they won't end up 3rd because Atlanta and Tampa's the other 2, but.
Seattle's gonna sneak in.
Well, okay, yeah, back to Seattle. So they're playing some good football. Right now, they would be in the playoffs if the season ended.
We said the same. This is what happened last year when we were like, they're gonna sneak in and they might do
They
something.
didn't. They fell off. But last year they weren't on the uphill trend this quick. The other side of it is the reason that we can say that is because Seattle's last 3 losses were to the 2 LA teams, the Rams and the Chargers. So, and they were all close. Like, they're beating everybody else. And even on the road, 1 o'clock, East Coast, I know that, it doesn't mean much to you, but I put a little stock in that. It's an impressive win, coming back from behind, them doing what they've, like you said, do all season. I still have questions about the defense, obviously, the secondary mainly. But I like Bobby Wagner, the linebacker. He's playing really good football this year. And then Russell, if Russ can, keep finding the receivers the way he does, why not? Now, I don't think they go into the playoffs and make any noise, and that's the other side of this. When we talk about playoffs and then playoff teams, our first thought is, well, how far can they go then? And I wouldn't say it's much more than a round or 2. Because you're going to run into the buzzsaw of New Orleans or the Rams. But somebody who we think could beat New Orleans. Can you beat New Orleans and the Rams? Because that's why I don't think you have to do that.
They came close to beating the Rams.
Right.
And it's the Saints, which is a divisional game series. No, it's not.
The Rams are the divisional game. Yeah. But the Saints still have not a good defense. And Russ loves to tear teams like that up. Russ can play in a shootout with anybody.
I still can't be comfortable enough to say they'd beat both.
Agreed, but we can agree that they might
so
take
they would
one
have
though?
to. So they would beat the Rams.
Well, okay, so let's just say they make the playoffs. They would be the team, right? So let's just say they either play Philadelphia, Dallas, or who would be like a team that would win the other division that's not. Okay, it would be the winner of the North then. So it would be Minnesota or Chicago. And then the other.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, right. And then, so it's either. So they could win. They could beat Philadelphia, Dallas, Minnesota, or Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they would have to play in the first round.
Right.
But then they would have to go to New Orleans or LA.
Probably go to New Orleans. So
Okay.
That might be winnable.
Okay.
If it's in New Orleans, like.
And look.
They get an extra week. It's in New Orleans.
All right, and let me swing this to you then about the next one.
They. I wouldn't pick them, but they.
You
they
wouldn't.
Could.
You wouldn't. It's not. It's not unforeseeable.
Right.
Now let me spin it to you this way: when you get to LA, Jared Goff in the playoffs, Russell Wilson in the playoffs. I don't know really anything about Jared Goff in the playoffs. I know what I get with Russ in the playoffs. Right. I'm not saying that the Rams aren't the better team and still should win the game.
Right.
But sometimes it just comes down to that.
So the Seahawks about to be a better version of what the Giants have been in years past. Just going to be a team that sneaks in.
I mean, see,
but they're going to be a better version of them. And
yeah,
they're going to just beat. They can easily beat.
I'm going to go with a better version of them. Yes, that's fine.
Right, a better version. Meaning they could beat 3 teams and make it to the Super Bowl.
I call it more the Packers.
The relaxed Packers.
I mean, this Packers is the relaxed Packers.
No, this is the oh my god Packers.
Dude, see, the Packers, we could transition to the Packers if you want to.
They suck, and they're not going to win the division.
I would love to agree, but then I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, yo.
Have you seen this team?
They were 5-6. They were 5-6-1 4 years ago and won the division. They were 4-5 and won the division 2 years ago.
This team is bad, man.
I don't disagree that this team is bad, but those teams were too.
No, this team is
those
bad.
Those Packers teams were bad too.
This team is bad. And then in the press conference after that game, they were like, Aaron Rodgers was going on. He was like, man, yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of answers. He hasn't been saying shit either.
I know.
He hasn't even hit him with the relax with whatever the hell he said the year before that.
He broke out the whole game plan of how they're going to win the division.
Oh, did he? What did he say?
He said the rest of their schedule. He said we're gonna win this game, we're gonna go there, win this game, we're gonna go there, win this game, we're gonna win this game, we're gonna go there, win this game, we're gonna get a little help, we're gonna win the division.
Okay, no, that's not happening. They're not winning the division, and this team is bad.
My argument for it would be they've done it.
No. This is not true.
4 times in Aaron Rodgers' career, he has been at this point
beautiful
in 3rd in the division.
Beautiful.
And won the
They're
division.
not this team. This team is bad.
And I don't disagree. This team is worse than. They're as bad, if not worse, than those teams. But those teams were pretty bad too.
Correct. But this team is bad. And even with Aaron Rodgers this year, it just does not seem to be enough. And it hasn't been. Is the bigger point. In years past, you could be like, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers has kind of got him there. This year, it's still like.
Now, I also think that Aaron Rodgers, one, he was younger and all those. 2, I think he's playing through injury right now. Like whatever happened in game 1, he's still playing well.
So it's gonna come out when they're out of the playoffs that he hasn't broken something.
But whatever happened in game 1, could have been healed fully through the season? No way. You're playing football. There's no way. There's no way whatever happened in game 1 where he came back out, remember, all drugged up after the game with a smile on. There's no way whatever he hurt in that game, there's no way it healed. You can't. It's impossible. They're playing football.
About that, yeah. Nobody talks about
Do you know what I'm saying? Though, like they're playing football. There's no way whatever happened that night healed. It's still hurting today. It's still an injury. So all those things added up. Maybe this team can't do it. I'm not expecting this team to do it. But what I am saying is, 4 times in his career, at this point, he's been 3rd in the division or worse and won it, and he can do it.
I don't know, man.
The path is also there for them to do. Don't they play like Arizona this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, they play a hard.
I know. But at this point, like, I'm not even confident in them winning in Lambeau now. Like, and this is the first time. And
who they lose to in Lambeau?
I don't know. I don't have the damn schedule in front of me. But point being, they're not even scary in Lambeau.
They tied Minnesota.
And people aren't scared of them going into Lambeau this year because they suck.
I don't know if they played Chicago in Lambeau yet. Oh no, they did. That was the one they won at the beginning of the season.
Okay. Well, I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I can't answer your question. Stat boy. Oh wait, there isn't one, so I don't know.
And they beat Miami last time they were in Lambeau. I don't know if they have a loss in Lambeau this year.
I would love to look this up, but I don't fucking know, and I don't. Regardless, nobody is afraid of Green Bay in Green Bay this year.
Week 1 was the win, yep. Week 2 was the tie at home against the Vikings, alright. They beat Buffalo at home, they beat the Niners at home, they beat the Dolphins at home. Yeah, they're undefeated at home.
And where are those scores looking like? Close?
The first one was 24-23, but remember Rodgers got hurt and came back in the final minute. The 29-29 overtime game. Again, he got hurt less than a quarter before that game started.
That's redundant at this point, okay.
22-0 against the Bills. They won 33-30 against the Niners. Not good defense. 31-12 against the Dolphins.
That's convincing.
All right, but let me hear me out. Hear me out with my Aaron Rodgers stuff here, all right? Cardinals, winnable at home this week. Next week, Falcons at home, winnable. You already beat the Bears. I'm not saying you do beat the Bears. But even say you lose that game. Then you got the Jets in New York, winnable, and the Lions at home. They could literally... There's one loss left on their schedule. There's one loss.
They could lose to the Jets. They can lose to the Bears. Yes, I said the Jets because they've been sneaking out wins for no damn reason. And against this terrible team, why should I be surprised if they beat that team? Because of Aaron Rodgers, I get it. But at this point, they could also lose.
The Jets just lost to the Bills like 2 weeks ago at home.
Correct, and the Bills have beaten some teams and they look like ass sometimes. But anyway, they can lose to the Bears. They can lose to the Lions. So they can get 1 or 2. They can split that. And they still ain't.
But they could go through the rest of the season with one more loss.
Okay.
That's playoffs.
I doubt it.
I'm just saying it could happen.
No, it's not happening. Nope. They don't deserve it. That Packers team does not deserve to be in the playoffs, by the way. I do not want to see that team in the playoffs.
The team that they played this week, Minnesota, who did look good, do you think they can beat the Bears and win the division, or do you think the Bears are going to win the division?
I think the Bears are going to win the division. I think Minnesota can still,
I think Minnesota will be a wild.
Minnesota's going to make it interesting.
I think whoever doesn't win the North is a wild card team and can win their first game in Philadelphia, Dallas, or wherever the other place I said it would be.
Minnesota has the potential to make it interesting with them, sure, but I don't think they're winning it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Chicago as well, especially. I think Trubisky's been playing pretty well for the most part, and that defense is just... The offense and the defense are both consistent.
That defense is just ridiculous.
It's more consistent than the offense and the defense of Minnesota, who has both been good, but yeah.
That defense is ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, I want to talk about the AFC South real quick. My man Andrew Luck, ballin' this season.
Cool. Good for him.
Houston beat Tennessee at home this week.
Who didn't pick that?
Yeah.
But Tennessee, though, let's not talk about Tennessee. Anyway, continue.
Houston's offense overall looked pretty good. Like, running the ball well, passing the ball well. Their defense is obviously getting the pressure. Did they play this weekend in Houston before? I hope. No, okay. I was like, I don't want to break down 2 teams that play this week. I just want to make sure they did. Who do you think wins the division between the 2 of them? I know we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but we have a lot more information between then and now. I'm still
Houston.
taking Indy.
No,
I'm still taking Indy.
I'm still not impressed with either one of them. Okay, they're winning. Great. Let me clarify. Aspects of their team are looking good. But
both quarterbacks?
Yeah, fine, okay. Outside of that, I'm going to talk about set yourself up to lose to the next team. Okay, that's that division. There you go. There we go. I'm glad we had that talk.
So you think that the winner of that division loses first round in the playoffs?
Yeah. Right. So you can stop being overexcited like you're trying to be with these 2 quarterbacks.
Well, I think they get 2 people in the playoffs.
Huh?
I'm trying to think. I think they get 2 teams in the playoffs. Who would be the other AFC playoff teams? Will it be Baltimore or them? As of right now, it would be Baltimore or the loser of that, the not winner of that division, I guess.
Yeah, they're losing.
They'd be the wild card teams, and the home teams would be the winner of that division and Pittsburgh, and then New England and Kansas City. Oh no, the Chargers are somewhere in here. The Chargers would be a playoff team. All right, so it'd be between Baltimore and them. I think it'd be Baltimore at the moment then. Yeah, I think Baltimore has one. I don't know. Too much. Anyway.
Yeah, you lost me 20 minutes ago. Anyway, yeah, they're just setting themselves up. One of those teams, or both of them, are setting themselves up to lose. So whatever. I'm just like cool. The quarterbacks are doing their thing. Mazel come back from injury. Mazel, that's cool. Don't hate on that. But I'm still like the teams are just to me. So it's nothing I'm excited about.
Dwight. Before we get into our picks and break down what's coming up this week, I need to go over the college football playoff situation.
I bet.
Because everybody and anybody has an opinion on it right now. The top 4 teams, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame. It is now Georgia after Michigan lost last week. And then it is Oklahoma, Ohio State. Side note quickly. LOL at not just College Game Day, but all the Michigan supporters who wanted to try to say that they were better than Notre Dame after they lost an outright game to Notre Dame, and now you're not even in the playoff conversation. So congratulations to you for getting whooped by 35 this weekend. To your biggest rival, Ohio State, by the way, while Notre Dame got to beat their biggest rival, USC, and go to the playoff. Anyway, yeah, I have to be petty sometimes, especially when it comes to my Irish. Now, back to the facts that are going on here with college football playoff. The way I think the best way to break this down is this week is championship weekend, so the conference championships are taking place. The SEC championship is Georgia versus Alabama. That will take care of the winner of that is in the college playoff. The loser of that opens up a slot for the 5th or the 6th team right now, who is Oklahoma and Ohio State. Now, how do we determine between Oklahoma and Ohio State who goes in? Because both have the same record, 1 loss. Both are playing in championship games this week. I think, personally, that Ohio State is playing the easier opponent. Oklahoma also lost to this opponent that they're playing. That's their 1 loss already this season. So that makes it a little more interesting. Ohio State, I think Ohio State could win this game by 45, and that would be what determines them to be the 4th team. Now, I think Alabama's, let's just say for all intents and purposes, Alabama wins the SEC championship because that's what we all think is going to happen. So you got Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and then, like I said, if Ohio State goes in there and wins by like 45, they did a couple years ago. That's what jumped them from 6 to 4, and they should have because they were the best team after what they did the last couple weeks. Be in there. I think personally that's probably how it will happen again this year if they can blow Northwestern out, and if Oklahoma has a like 45-35 game, which. I mean, Oklahoma has no defense but has a lot of offense. The reason I think that it shouldn't be that way and how it should be is the winner of the SEC championship should be in there, and then Clemson, Notre Dame, and then I think it should be Oklahoma, even if it is a blowout for Ohio State and a 45-35 thing with Oklahoma, because Oklahoma all season has had those games. Like you know what you're getting with Oklahoma. An insanely explosive offense, the most miserable defense you're ever going to see in the playoff. But you've known that since week 1. They played that way since week 1, and as annoying as it can be in college football, it is to me part of college. Oregon years ago was the first team to ever do it, but to me it is part of college football where like you can't ignore it. Like that's how teams are going to come out here and win football games. If they're winning the football games, let's not just knock them because we don't like how they're doing it. They're still doing it, and that like all we're asking them is the criteria of winning the football games. Now I can give you that it would be the same record as Ohio State, but the side of it with Ohio State is Ohio State was just dropped to 10 2 weeks ago. and they just had a overtime game with Maryland 2 weeks ago. Like, everybody was in agreement 2 weeks ago that Ohio State might have a lot of talent, but they weren't consistent at all, and they were playing really bad. So to put up the 63, we all knew they had the talent to do that against Michigan. Our issue was that they weren't doing that all season, and I think it shows more their inconsistency all season than it does their greatness and why you should put them in. But I do think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, oh, look at their greatness, and this is why they're in the college football playoff. Also, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. This is a ratings thing as much as anything, right? And
Absolutely.
Oklahoma is much higher than Ohio State if we're going to do, or Ohio State is much higher than Oklahoma if we're going to do ratings. Right. If you're going to play the ratings game, and at the end of the day, the ESPN gets control who goes in there, and ESPN is the one who airs it. So we're running a bad monopoly here. Not best for people like me who know and love college football, but really good for them, and that's all they're looking for. The other issue is there's an argument to be had for both sides, so they technically can't be wrong. Like, they always have it in their back pocket of, we just thought it was this, no matter what, and there's nothing anybody can do about it because the argument for both teams is there, and if it were to happen, like Ohio State blows Northwestern out, and I'm saying that's the most extreme scenario. It might take care of itself. Georgia might beat Alabama, and Northwestern might beat Ohio State, and then boom, our four are set. We don't have to worry about it. Then you know who you have based on just wins and losses and facts. We're also going to have to expand it to 6 or 8 in a couple years. I talk about that often with this. It's going to happen. And a lot of these conversations that we're having right now won't matter as much then, because then it will just be if they...
So it becomes 10,
Well, no, I don't think it's going to go past 6 or 8. I think it stops at 8. And, I mean, I have an argument where, look, in the NFL, what do we get? 16 teams that make the playoffs? 14 teams.
I don't know.
However many it is. It's over, 40% of the teams in the NFL that make the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
In college football right now, we have less than 0.2%. Like 0.2% of the eligible teams that can make it are making it every year. So I wouldn't have a problem with expanding it to 16 the way that other people would have a problem with expanding it to 16. But I understand that we're not going past 6 or 8.
Never.
And my argument on if we just expand it to 16 is I would much rather watch that than the GoDaddy.com Bowl between Toledo and New Mexico State. Like, I would much rather...
I thought you were going to say the commercial. I was going to say I'd rather watch the commercial.
No, all right. Whatever. The Mighty Key Car Care Bowl.
Still might want to watch the Mighty Key Car Care.
That's a real bowl. That's a real bowl game. I would much rather watch Alabama play the 16th team in the nation than New Mexico State versus, I don't know, Florida.
Too many bowl games. I hate it.
I'm going to quickly cover the Flyers because there's a huge mess going on there, and I need to vent about it. The Flyers are
Philadelphia misery.
All right, so
it brings joy to me.
So the Flyers are like the darkest hole in my sports life, right? Like, the Flyers are just a continuum of
garbage.
If you paid attention to hockey, the Flyers would be your favorite part of sports because they bring me the most pain, and you love watching Philadelphia sports teams bring their fans pain.
I do enjoy it quite a bit.
Dude, the Flyers would be right up your alley with this. So, like, the Flyers are so bad they bring out a mascot that none of us like, and then we all end up liking him the most of that season. That's the Flyers.
No, that's Philadelphia. That's Philadelphia fans saying, "Ooh, this sucks." You're like, you know what? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, that's y'all. Don't blame the organization. But it is a creepy, weird, stupid mascot. I'm glad you brought that up because we never talked about it. He's creepy, he's weird, and it's stupid. You're welcome. And y'all would start cheering him. Fucking weirdos. Anyway.
I don't mind mascots in general, so.
Well, y'all didn't need one, and he's weird. And
no, I agree they didn't need
stupid.
one. But I mean, I like Gritty, but whatever. I wasn't super excited about him, for sure.
Who's worse, him or who's the Sixers mascot?
Oh, I don't like the Sixers mascot at all.
Dog.
Franklin? I can't stand Franklin.
The dog?
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, I can't stand...
Which one's worse?
I can't stand Franklin. Get Franklin out of here. Bring hip-hop back. The bunny, he was my favorite.
He was cool and stupid, too.
He was better than the dog.
It's better than the Muppet ripoff.
I mean, at least Gritty's more like the Fanatic, and the Fanatic is just a cartoon character. And that's if I'm going mascot, I'm going that.
Yeah, he's what happens if the Fanatic and a joke. Continue. I forget what the guy's name was.
So the Flyers.
I got it. He's what happens if the Fanatic and Animal from the Muppets had a baby. All right.
I knew
All right.
what
You get it?
that's
LOL.
what you were gonna say.
All right.
So-
LOL. Continue.
Dwight, you know me, but you always say this is part of what we do. So
This is what y'all do.
no, you and I,
Oh.
as our show. I'm not very much on the whole let's just fire a coach, but all season I have been saying fire Dave Hackstall, right? Because it just hasn't been working the last couple of years. I didn't really want him to be the coach after last season, and they kept him throughout the season. So I was like, all right, well I guess we're just gonna wait for the first 2 months of the season, and then he's not gonna do well, and they're just gonna fire him then. And, all right, so here we are, about 2 months into the season. They fire Ron Hextall,
Oh. Yeah.
the GM, not Dave Hackstall, the coach, which I
Just kidding.
think the organization got that mixed up.
They
I
got the
understand
names
how they
messed up.
could.
They messed up the names.
I can't really understand because Ron Hextall was one of the best goalies ever for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's one of our top 5 goalies in the history. So for him to be our GM, for you to confuse him with our coach's name, Hackstall, which is spelled differently.
It's a millennial thing, man.
I don't know. But the organization somehow messed this up and decided to just, on Tuesday morning, fire the GM. Cool, all right. Well, I'm not really excited about that. I thought that he brought in some good players, but he did bring in the coach, and it did seem like he's been refusing to fire the coach. So if this is what we have to do to get rid of the coach, that sucks. I really enjoyed my time with that GM, but they didn't win a Stanley Cup, so let's figure this out.
Okay.
I figured at some point Tuesday, they'd fire the coach, Hackstall. Nothing. All right. They play a game Tuesday night.
Okay.
Even more interesting.
Did he win?
They were up 3-1.
Oh, okay. Maybe we should keep him.
4 minutes to go.
Maybe we should keep him.
They lost 4-3.
Maybe we should fire him.
So like after all the events that happen in your span of all day, where the entire fan base, not just me, wants your coach fired, and he has proven enough that he should probably be fired. You fire the GM, who everybody likes, but everybody's like, all right, well, if this is the start of cleaning house, then it's sad to see him go, but good luck. Then they don't fire the coach, but now we're all just like, all right, grumpy in our seats watching the game, and then they're up 3-1, we're like, yeah, and then they lose 4-3, and that's where I'm like, how as an organization can you not just how do you let him get to the locker room? Like literally, as he's turning off the bench, the GM and the owner should have just been standing right there like,
the new GM.
Yeah, what?
Did he have a GM at that
Good point. Good point. The president, Paul Holmgren, and the owner should have been standing there with the resignation papers or the firing papers, however they want to handle this, and not letting that coach get to the locker room. Because, come on. So it gets better, Dwight. We wake up the next day.
Did he get an extension?
No, not that good. The Flyers put out a statement at 10 a.m. They got rid of more people in the front office and the entire coaching staff except the head coach.
Wow.
And one assistant, Ruby.
Are you just saving the best for last, or?
Nope, because then in a great press conference an hour after the statement was released, they said all moves are on hold now when it comes to GM search, and they're going to let the next GM decide about the coach, but they're not going to do that till closer to the offseason.
The next GM is going to decide to coach. I mean, I get that, but...
Okay, so I understood that too, but my thing is, you fired all of this coach's
Right,
coaches, you fired all the people in the front office,
You got rid of all his people.
and then you were like, you know what, it's just going to be the owner, myself, who was the president, but I guess I'm acting GM, Paul Holmgren now, and the coach, and us three got it. We had a team of 25 people, but we narrowed it down to, we got this.
Coach, you got this.
Okay, firing coach mid-season, I'm never the biggest fan of that in any sport. Like I said, I would have rather them do it last season, but if they were going to do it in the middle of the season, then whatever. We got to that point where I was like, all right, it's clear they need to fire him. I'm glad they see that. They start cleaning house out, and then they get right to that point. It's worse. If firing him and trying to rebuild in the middle of the year is a lot easier than firing everybody around him and just having him float and figure it out the rest of the year. Like, this is 10 times worse.
And you're just playing him at this point. Like,
You're right. Because, look, I feel bad for the dude as a human. Like, I don't want him as the Flyers coach anymore, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just not coaching the Flyers great. Like,
and now he knows his days are already numbered. And now he's just going to get booed every single time
he's literally just walking out to his home. Like, he walks out to an away arena to a bunch of people yelling they hate him. He walks out to his home arena to a bunch of people yelling they hate him more. Like, there's nothing this man can do right now. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he probably can't even go out and get a burger right now. Like, he just...
Not Philly.
And that sucks. Like, because again, it's not... Like, yeah, sure, the human is not the issue. The dude coaching, not great at the moment. Right. Good luck in your future, but it just wasn't...
Well, the future's in Philadelphia, apparently.
Ah, man.
So good luck in Philadelphia. Good luck walking them streets.
And that's the other thing. So the team, the players, the last 48 hours had to be expecting their coach to get fired, and now here they are walking into the coach that they thought was gonna get fired still there, but everybody else is gone. So like
so they start talking shit the day before, thinking like,
oh man,
people act.
Like they knew he was gone, right? Like in their head, they knew. They're letting him go, so I might as well let him know right now. You just like fire a couple lines at him, just a couple good just to get him in the side. Right. Yeah, now you're doing suicides because he didn't get fired. Now you're on the ice for an extra 45 minutes after practice, just skating. Legs tired and shit. Shouldn't have said that to coach. That's a really good point.
That must suck.
But I mean, that's what's really disappointing though, is like the players are also, and they're more talented than what they're playing. Like the players are talented, the team is not doing well.
Right.
So the other side of this is like they're all hurting. Like man, we're doing something wrong as individuals, and on top of this, we got to figure out this organizational mess. And then here we are. They were just like, here's a bigger mess.
So,
all right.
So what happens if the Flyers mess around and start going on a winning streak at some point?
I mean, I fully expect it to happen, Dwight. Like that's also the issue with hockey is that like teams get hot and they don't need that. Not that they don't need coach, but they don't need necessarily a coach to guide them. If they just kind of have everything set in place, teams can play for 4 or 5 weeks on just cruise control, winning, just putting pucks in the back of the net. I mean, not saying that it's as easy as that, but sometimes there's definitely, it's very free-flowing like basketball in a sense of when you're out there and things go a little chaotic, you're just trusting your skills and your best players. And the Flyers have a team that if you're just relying on skills and best players, they can make a run. And they seemingly usually do. And it's only November. Like
right.
The thing with the Flyers is they can make a run in the from December 23rd to February 18th that is unpredictable and ridiculously great and put themselves at the top of the Eastern Conference. And here we are like, well, I guess all they need to do is fire the GM and all the assistants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see it happening, but it could. It's weird, man. And if they don't get it, my issue is if they don't get a GM towards the end of the season or until the offseason, you're just going to roll with a skeleton crew?
You can't really, how are you going to blow up the whole team?
The trade deadline's coming
up.
And
they said we're going to wait until the end of the season. Like, we're in November, homie.
The Flyers are also super deep. They have a ton of players in the minors that got a lot of raw good talent that they could trade for assets, or they could get, more players to bring up, and they could start bringing those players up, whatever, and trade some of the assets that they have and bring in younger players. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, because the Flyers have also guys like that. So they're in a position where they could swing the organization in one way or another at the trade deadline this year, and they're going into it as of right now, a couple months out, without even a GM, and they don't sound like there's a search, but it's not like an active search. So I don't know. It's frustrating. And that's where the Flyers are at.
Hot ass mess.
You want to talk about basketball?
Nope.
Okay.
Is there anything important going on?
No.
Dwight Howard do anything special? Allegedly.
He might have. I don't know.
We don't know.
The entire Wizards roster was threatened to be traded, though. Did you hear about that?
No.
Their GM came out and said that everybody is available, like nobody's off limits. He's listing deals for anybody. They are.
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
They're gonna be a total rebuild, though.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, why not?
Oh, I mean, fine. I agree. How did this get to that though? Like to where they're at? I mean,
Dwight Howard's a team killer.
I get 3 years ago.
Dwight Howard's a team killer.
Bradley Beal and John Wall looked like they were going to be where Toronto is or Boston is right now. At least in the conversation. Maybe not as good, but they would be like with them in Philadelphia. Like they'd be right there in the conversation.
They were supposed to be. And they're still good players, but
those two are, but everybody else around them collapsed.
everybody else around them sucks, yeah. Then they put the team killer on there.
Dude, they really brought in Austin Rivers and Dwight Howard in the same offseason.
Austin Rivers and Dwight Howard.
And expected that to be what fixed it.
Team killer. Yeah. I'm just gonna move on. I'm not gonna talk about Dwight Howard. It's funny, man.
Could you look at him as a teammate after that? Could you be like, right?
No. I did chuckle. But, in fairness to Dwight Howard, if you don't know what we're talking about, look it up. It'll take you 3 seconds to figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, we don't meddle in these waters on GE Sports.
All I'm going to say is, it's not looking good for the accuser.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Nah, it's looking more and more like it was just all
set up, fake.
Fake. Because this accuser has past failed accusations against some rapper that nobody's ever heard of.
Oh, okay.
Literally, like even people that like kind of follow the shit, they were like, "Who the fuck is this?" Yeah, like so, like legitimate people. But it's been proven that these accusations in the past have been false. So, I mean, who knows? But it's not looking too promising. And people were saying like, because he had a voice memo. They had a voice memo of Dwight Howard. But people were already debunking that. I didn't listen to it. I refused. I was just like, I don't care enough. I just think this is a funny story because of who it is.
Agreed. I didn't listen to any of it either.
No, I refused to play it, but all the comments were saying, well, not all of them, a lot of them were saying it's clearly not Dwight Howard, so I don't know. It's probably not true, but it's just...
It'd be funny if it was.
It would make a lot of sense if it was. Kobe said he was soft.
Dwight.
Moving on.
Before we move on, I asked you, could you look at him the same as a teammate? So if you don't think it's true, then as a teammate, you gotta be like, bruh.
I guess I'm right.
You gotta ask.
I gotta ask.
Right. You gotta be like,
who on the Wizards is gonna ask?
John Wall. John Wall's walking in that locker room. Say that happened Sunday. John Wall's walking in that locker room Monday. Hey, bro.
Why did you jump to John Wall?
Because you know I'm right. Because John Wall be saying that. Hey.
Who else is on that team? Does Kelly Oubre like tilt his head at him? He looks like a anyway.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre is like.
We're gonna stop because we're gonna get in trouble. YouTube already don't like that, I swear. We're gonna leave it at that.
Getting into their picks this week, Dwight.
Please do. Please save this show. Please save
one of Fox's biggest ratings for a Thursday night game won't even be on Fox this week. The NFL Network Thursday night game happens to be New Orleans and Dallas, and it only looks like it's a NFL Network special, and I hope I'm wrong about that, but that's what it's looking like.
Because that's broken. Possible. So.
I'm picking New Orleans, clearly.
Really not going with DeMarcus Lawrence?
I was going to get into that, though.
You don't believe in him?
Good idea?
No, it pissed me off.
It would have made me mad.
And he didn't say this exactly, but basically my summarization is if you punch them in the mouth hard enough, they're not going to put up 50 points on you.
Yeah, basically it was if you get them early, punch them in the mouth right out the gate. If they can't put up 30 before halftime, they can't put up 50 overall.
I didn't like that whatsoever. First of all, you're nobody as a team, relatively speaking. You haven't done it. You're not this juggernaut. You're not this freight train. Like, you haven't beaten them yet, and you've beaten a bunch of nothing. You're not there yet. Why don't you be there first and then talk about a team that is clearly there and might actually win this whole damn thing?
The number one seed, at least in the NFC right now.
Like, I like that you're not afraid of him or whatever, and like, cool.
That's a good thing.
You could even trash talk a little bit, but that I was just like, come on, man.
Well, extra.
Right, and that's Drew Brees. Go ahead, hit him in the mouth. You're going to put up 45. What's Dak going to put up? 25?
It's Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And Sean Payton loves to be the
Come on, man. No, it irritated me. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it whatsoever.
And we know Sean Payton this year. We heard stories about him chirping back with players, so
Right.
he's probably going to be dialing some stuff up.
Everybody's going to be talking. Like, he has to learn his lesson from all these other players who have been talking shit, a.k.a. Jalen Ramsey. Like, just stop talking. Stop talking.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I mean, I didn't either, because like I said, I know about the Sean, how petty Sean Payton can be, and how good the Saints offense is. Like, that's a team that you don't just punch in the mouth. They're going to put up 45 on you probably either way.
Either way.
I agree.
So you picked the Saints?
Yeah, I picked the Saints.
I picked the Saints too. Like, I can't come up with a logical explanation that we could. We're not first of all, we're not going to beat them in a shootout, so that's like I can't even say that what I was about to say. But unless Drew Brees ends up somehow just sticking up the joint, just has an awful game, then sure. But there's no reason straight up in
Dallas' defense could have a game. The issue is no one's covering Mike Thomas lately, across the entire league.
Right.
And I just don't know on Dallas' defense who or what could stop that. He's just on the next level right now. And that opens up so much for their good running backs, and that's just it. I mean, that's just literally been what has been it for them. And that's why I went with New Orleans. I just don't see who's covering them on Dallas.
Until somebody can stop Drew Brees, it's Drew Brees and the Saints.
Atlanta hosting Baltimore. Possibly, probably, Lamar Jackson's third start.
Mm-hmm.
I went very back and forth on this for a long time because Atlanta can put some points up. They can. And Baltimore can look stale on the road in general with Joe Flacco.
Right.
I wrestled with it. I'm going Baltimore. But I would not be shocked in any way, shape, or form to see Atlanta win.
I'll pick Atlanta, but
it's coin flip.
Sure, yeah. I got nothing.
It can be.
I got nothing.
Baltimore is the better team right now.
I still don't understand Atlanta. They're great, then they suck, and then they're great, and then they just suck lately. And yeah. But it's Baltimore. Baltimore isn't anything to write home about, so I got Atlanta home.
Who's Buffalo playing?
The Bills are playing the Dolphins, sir.
Alright, Buffalo at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Miami.
Me too.
Tannehill 2 weeks. This will be his second week back. He didn't look that bad last week against the Colts.
I didn't even know that. I paid zero attention to that. I didn't know he was bad. I paid exactly this much attention to that game. Told you everything you need to know about how much I cares about Miami or Indianapolis. But I had no clue Ryan Tannehill was bad. That's what's up. Good for him.
Josh Allen. 7 yards rushing, 200 yards passing. Looked good last week against Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I like to knock Miami, and sometimes Buffalo
just as much.
No, but sometimes Buffalo pulls it out.
And they still suck.
I'm going with Miami.
This is the worst team to ever win 4 games. We keep saying that.
Buffalo?
Yeah. Worst team ever.
Dude, they're on a streak. 2 in a row.
This is stupid. I picked Miami. Fakest 4-win team ever.
Because we both just don't believe in Buffalo. But this is a game that Buffalo could win, though.
No, this is the one they're going to lose.
I hope.
They beat good teams, allegedly. Or compete. Let's say that. They compete with good teams. Miami sucks, so they don't lose. They got it backwards. They don't know how to work the system.
Playing with house money. The Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers hosting the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I picked the Packers. As much shit as I talked on the Packers, they should not lose against Arizona.
Agreed.
Still not any good, but yeah, they're better than Arizona.
Carolina taking on Tampa Bay. Talk about a team that needs to put it together, get it together, or else they are not making the playoffs.
Oh. It's like, who needs to get it together? Tampa?
Yeah.
Talk about coin flips. They coin flicking quarterbacks every damn week.
Yeah, but They just won again last week. So this is the week that Jameis does bad, so Fitz could get put in the third or fourth quarter, come back and win. You know what? I picked Carolina, but I should probably switch that.
Go ahead, because I picked Carolina. Go ahead.
No, I'm picking Carolina. But this is the week that Jameis is supposed to throw it in the first couple quarters, so then Fitz could get put in, right? Because didn't that happen 2 weeks ago where Fitz threw it for the first couple quarters so that Jameis could get put in, look pretty good, start the next game, and win?
Ridiculous.
They just going back and forth.
This is ridiculous. You got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterback. Carolina. What a joke of organization right now in Tampa with their quarterback situation. That is beyond laughable and embarrassing and stupid. Like, so then what are you doing moving forward? Both of them are going to be cut next year.
Well, that's the thing is, they're going to have to go with Jameis because they signed him to a decent
So now
contract.
we're just flip-flopping to keep upping our
But
draft picks so that we can get higher up.
Eventually, Ryan Fitzpatrick's
Or go
going
back lower, I should say.
leave, though. I mean, he's pretty old.
Yeah, he's pretty old, and Jameis sucks. So I mean, you're just gonna start over regardless. Just make a decision. Like, commit to something. Stop this dumb flip flopping shit. And Jameis had it. And Jameis had it in cojones. He would say that exact same statement. Either go this old man, or just keep me on this damn bench. Why should I get hurt? If you're gonna get rid of me anyway, why should I get hurt? Le'Veon Bell, why should I get hurt? Let me sit down, or I'm just gonna sit down. Make a
He has a
decision.
lot to prove
He don't got shit to prove.
to other teams.
Well, sure. Well then, okay. Well then, play me and keep me in.
I agree.
But you can't take stands if you're on a sports team in 2018, because then you're a thug and a hoodlum. Anyway.
Denver taking on Cincinnati. I got Denver. They've been playing some pretty good football as of late. Cincinnati hasn't.
No, Cincinnati's a joke and a catastrophe. What an
AJ
embarrassment.
Green is back this week.
What
I
an
still got Denver.
embarrassment. It is disgusting. I got the Broncos. The Bengals are terrible, man. How do you lose to the Browns?
Yeah.
Come
by
on.
What was it, like 41-31?
Badly at home.
24, so whatever it was.
Terrible, man. What a joke.
The LA Rams
Mhm.
taking on the Detroit Lions.
Rams.
I got the Rams as well. Even with all that time for the Lions to prepare.
Yeah. What you mean? Yeah.
I'm joking. Cleveland taking on Houston. Speaking of Cleveland. So Houston's on an 8-game winning streak. They're the first team to ever start off 0-3 and win 8 in a row.
It's a wet dream game for you, huh? Kind of.
No, because this is one of those games that Houston might just fool around and lose then. And I want to see a good divisional race with them in Indianapolis towards the end, so I'm rooting for them in Indianapolis to make it tight for me.
I picked Houston.
I picked Houston too, and they're playing good football, don't get me wrong. Cleveland is playing better football than they have been, over the last couple of years, clearly. Cleveland could sneak up on them and do it. So I got Houston,
Yeah,
though.
they might mess around and win that. Easily.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to see Baker against those two DNs. Indianapolis taking on Jacksonville. The Blaine Gabbert-led Jacksonville Jaguars.
Talk about embarrassment of an organization. Always got to come back around to either the Browns or the Jaguars. Right now it's Jacksonville.
Somebody's got to be winning one or two.
It's always one or the other.
Somebody's got to be laying down that. Well, and the Bills are always somewhere in the four.
Yeah, they're top 3. Yeah, they're definitely always in there. Jackson.
Yeah.
What a joke. Talk about trying to make a commitment to a quarterback. I did not pick them. I picked the Colts. Jacksonville's. Did they cut this man? Did they cut Blaine? Or Blaine. Jesus. Blake. Same difference.
Blaine Gabbert, you're going to cut him too at one point.
They just.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's going to get roasted again at some point this year.
So they're going to have to end up doing Jacksonville's going to end up having to do trading for a Nick Foles or a player in a situation like that. You know what I mean?
Nobody wants that contract though. Nobody wants that.
Well, no. You're going to have to just eat the contract, keep Blake. You're going to have to keep Blake, and you're going to have to trade for a guy that that has proven but not really proven, like a Nick Foles or a Teddy Bridgewater. You're going to have to that's who they're going to end up with next year. They're not going to go out and draft. You're not going to have a high. Well, I guess you might, because there's not really anybody that needs a quarterback that's super high up right now, unless the Giants go after a quarterback. Either way, so you're looking at a situation where you might have a shot at one of the young quarterbacks, but you're paying Blake a lot.
That's so much money.
You might have to go with like a Teddy Bridgewater or Nick Foles because of that contract.
This is nuts. Shout out to them Jaguars fans out there, because y'all got screwed.
I'm taking the Colts as well if I haven't said that though.
Jacksonville fans got screwed out of talk about hopes and dreams and shit.
Well, they're going to be England soon, so.
Yeah, fair enough. Man, New England got screwed.
Just England.
Oh, just England, not New England?
No, regular England.
Oh.
It'll be the England Jaguars and we'll have the New England Patriots.
Man. That's... Anyway.
Chicago taking on the Giants.
Chicago. The Giants.
Even if Chase McDaniels plays the second game in a row.
It's still Eli.
It is still Eli, and I'm taking Chicago.
It's still Eli.
It is, dude, it is still Eli. It was still Eli Sunday, thankfully.
When I texted you, I said it's still Eli, because I was mad I picked y'all, because y'all were looking terrible. Then I said, well, it's still Eli. Then what was it? Still
It was
Eli.
still Eli.
It was still Eli.
The Jets taking on your favorite AFC South team, Titans.
Fuck's sake, I have to pick the Titans.
Yeah, me too, and that puts them one game back in the division. And let's say Houston loses.
Can they go one game out of the league? Like, can they go to New England or England? Can they become the England Titans?
The England Titans.
The England Titans. I'm in on that.
Your friend wouldn't like that.
You don't like the fact that I say F the Titans, and it's been the Titans because what have they done for me lately besides lose? And be the fakest? Right. Alright, anyway. They're going to win. It's the damn Jets. What they say on that movie, on that Adam Sandler movie, it's the God what Jets? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. That's why they're going to lose.
Kansas City taking on Oakland.
Chiefs.
right.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs. Yeah,
So,
Chiefs. Yeah.
Chiefs.
John who?
Whew. Experiment's still going well, like you said about it. San Francisco taking on the highest team in the NFC, Seattle.
Seattle.
I took Seattle as well at home. Minnesota taking on New England. This will be a great 8 o'clock game. Or 4:15 game, sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting. Kind of tough.
It's tough. I took New England. It's hard to go against them at home.
Yeah, I'm not going to guess my gun. I'm going to stick with New England. I thought about just switching around just now, but I can't.
And this is the
Stick with
time
my
of
gut.
year that they always make their statement wins and they start to get you reel in just enough. It's that this is that New England Patriot time. This is that the time of year of football.
It's such a bad Patriots team.
It is, but every Patriots team is built off of you making more mistakes than them, and this is the time of year where teams make more mistakes than ever. We're getting to that part of the season. I got New England down the stretch here overall. The Chargers, in a great 8 o'clock game, going to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I had a hard time with this one.
Yeah, this is messing up my AFC pick. That's a spoiler. I picked the Chargers. In the quote-unquote upset.
I picked the Chargers too.
Really?
Yeah. Can I have an admission here?
No.
I think the Chargers might be the second or third best team in the AFC.
How does that make you feel?
Horrible.
Well, why? You don't hate Phillip Rivers.
I don't hate the human Phillip Rivers. He's just not as good as everyone says.
But he's good enough to be the third best team in the AFC.
Look, right now.
Yeah, he set the record for completions.
I was going to give him credit for that one too.
Mm-hmm. So you can't be that bad.
Right now.
Carson Wentz ain't do that.
Nope.
So he's better than Carson Wentz.
Right now we have New England and Kansas City. They would be the two best teams in the AFC, right? I think everybody would say it's New England and Kansas City.
Yep.
The third best team is either the Steelers or the Chargers. The more consistent team of the two has been the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers have beaten everybody in their path for the most part. They have a bad loss a couple weeks ago. I think it was, to Denver. But that's a divisional game. Weird things happen. Overall, though, their season, they have been on the upward climb. And you just said about Phillip Rivers, I am excited. There's two quarterbacks, Roethlisberger and Rivers, who are super accurate. So I am excited for that. Like, Roethlisberger had more touchdowns and incompletions a couple weeks ago in a game. Phillip Rivers just had, 27 straight completions in a row or something like that, just to open up the game. It was some ridiculous number. Good for him. It's impressive. It's incredible. They have an explosive offense around him. I don't like that Melvin Gordon went down, so we'll see how that plays out throughout the rest of the year for them. That might be what the difference between them and taking that next step is. But for right now, the Chargers are playing some great football this year, and I'm got to take them this week.
I need Big Ben to reevaluate his decision making this week, so he's going to need to get it together.
Did you hear what he said
About that horrible throw at the end of the game?
No, but that
was an abomination.
Not only would have been picked off by the guy who was picked off by it, it could have been picked off by the guy standing right behind him.
100% that was going to happen. 100% it was a pick. That's why what was he looking at?
Middle of the third quarter, Washington, the wide receiver Washington, the guy who made that catch, he dove to catch it and he fell to the ground, and the ball came out and he dropped it. It was incomplete. Ben was asked about that specific play in a radio interview earlier this week, and he didn't answer it all that great. He talked about how he thought the player was playing scared. He criticized. He put the player down pretty hard. And in the when he was asked about it the next day in the locker room by the media, he said not once but twice in his response, "It's my right as the captain, and I've been here long enough to say things like that. It's my right." So not only did you come off like a prick about your teammate in a play nationally on a radio, then you decided to double down on it and just say it's my right to say that.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Instead of being like, yeah, I probably should have said something differently. If I'm going to handle things like that, I can handle behind closed doors. Maybe I shouldn't put my teammates in bad position. Nope, I'm the leader of this team and it's my right to do that.
I thought this was America.
Okay.
Well, okay. Well, I guess he's within his right.
And there is a good I've had a hunch for a long time that the Steelers haven't won a Super Bowl in a good while because of the way Roethlisberger has been since Coward, right? Coward? Phil Coward's left. Kind of just like, hey, I think the whole, when Tomlin came in, it was like, hey, I'm, the other guy. It's you and me.
Tomlin has a ring.
Yeah, against the, what's it called? Arizona.
Yeah, right.
I'm not taking anything away from Tomlin. What I'm saying is
he has one post Coward, right?
No, but how I'm looking at this is when Coward left, it was Roethlisberger like, hey, when Coward was there, it was, hey, what do you want me to do? When Coward left, it was, hey, this is how we're going to do it. And I think that he just has had some kind, I don't know, there's just something.
He became the leader?
But he hasn't been.
What he said.
But he hasn't been a good one. And is that a fair assessment, I guess, is the best way? In crunch time, when we're talking about getting you 10 to 12 wins, they're going to do that. He's going to do that. But I'm talking about those last 3 weekends of the year, they haven't been successful in 10 years. That Super Bowl you're talking about I was in high school. That's 10 years ago. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't been great in the playoffs since, and they've won a couple games.
I don't think that was 10 years ago, but
2008.
I don't know what it was.
It was either 2007 or 2008. Because I remember the Eagles went to the NFC Championship and lost to the Cardinals that year.
You wouldn't remember that dumb fact.
I like the Monday night game as well, obviously.
Well, that's garbage. I ain't nobody watching that.
I'm picking Philadelphia. Look, if the Eagles don't beat Colt McCoy at home with division matter on the line.
So you don't like Brady Quinn in this?
I gotta pick the Birds.
I picked them terrible things that fly.
It is a good weekend of football coming up, though. The Friday we have a conference championship game. Saturday we have 4 or 5 conference championship games, and 3 of them are pretty good. And then Sunday we have some good football throughout the day. 4:15 the New England game, the 8 o'clock game sounds pretty good. So yeah, good slate of football.
It's alright. It's better than what it was a couple weeks ago.
Dwight, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I know Amazon's not going to make that easy.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't got no. What you mean?
So it's like, I'm not in on that.
I don't know what you're talking
JD
about.
Sports.
Peace out.
Thanks for watching.